What's up, my people? Welcome back. Sports Counterpoints podcast. Today is November 8th, 2022. I'm GB. You got B. Coop. What's happening with y'all, man?
What's going on?
We are back. Loving
Back
it.
at it. Back at it. Coop, you always hit us with the Keith Sweat voice in the beginning, man. I like it. It's like, yeah, we back at it. That's dope. Real quiet stormish. I like it.
Right, right.
Starting off with a happy birthday to Coop also. Uh, man,
I appreciate it. Thank you,
aging
fellas.
backwards, my brother. I always clown you on the to me, but you getting love today, man. Aging
Man,
backwards, my boy.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Both of y'all. Thank you.
Man, all day. So today's show, we're talking about the NFL as always. We'll do a little bit of World Series talk and some college football is in there too. NBA season swing, it's gonna be going. So we'll get to the NBA as things go. But starting with the league, man, NFL. What you guys think after this last week, man?
Well, to be honest with you, Brian, I think we should start with Glenn. What you think about last week? To be honest with you, man.
How are you doing?
Oh, how you doing? Right.
All right, well played, well played. I mean, I'm probably the most optimistic person anybody knows, if you know me personally. So, and both y'all attest to that. But I just think it's taken way longer for them to get this together than I thought. Every Raider fan, we want it to be instant, right? So I know I was even saying they might win the division. I mean, it's not recorded anywhere, but I might have said it in the conversation. But I mean, I didn't really think that necessarily. I just knew it was going to take time. I didn't think it would take this long, but I definitely think we're not giving enough credit to trying to change a total organization that's been dysfunctional for and still continues to in a bit, right? For my whole lifetime almost. A good portion of it anyway. They were winning when I was young. But yeah, it's just taking more time than I thought. They're not there. And I know Carr, after watching Carr for 10 seasons or whatever it is, if he's not that first year, he's just not familiar with the game plans and the scheme, and it shows on the field. So I'll be in the game this weekend. Hopefully we get that one. That's gonna be interesting with Jeff Saturday starting as the Colts coach. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But yeah, the Jags are not as bad as everybody thinks. They've played a lot of close games. They beat the Chargers at home. You know what I mean? They played close games. So they just aren't. They're figuring it out too. But they have some continuity in coaching over the last year. So yeah.
It's weird how you became an evangelist right after.
Glenn, when you said the Jags aren't as bad as you think, you should have saw Brian laughing.
I see him. That's why we got this. That's why we got the three screens so you can see. But I'm just saying, like, the games have been close. They're not just getting like blown out in all these games. Like, they've been close. They beat the Chargers, put 38 on the Chargers at the crib. I mean, they're not like absolutely horrid. They're all NFL teams.
I mean, they did lose 5 straight after that.
That's all.
Yeah, teams lose games, man. You know what I'm saying?
So
I mean,
so
it's the
here's
same.
Look, after what just happened, I'm thoroughly convinced now it's coaching. You had a 10-win playoff team that added Devontae Adams, and now you can't score in the second half against Jacksonville after being up 17-0. I didn't watch a minute of the game, to be honest with you, because I thought once it was 17-0, I just figured they were going to cruise the win.
Man,
then I looked at my phone. It was a late fourth quarter. They were in the red zone. I was like, oh, yeah, they're about to blow it.
we haven't done that all season.
I bet on the Raiders early in the week. Then after talking to you guys and hearing a couple other people, I hedged against it. So I just lost juice, which is just fine. So I wasn't, but I was mad. Don't get me wrong. When it was 17-0 Reds, I was like, damn it, I shouldn't have hedged. And then once I saw the final score, I'm like, well, it's a good thing I did. I knew what I was doing. So
the coaching comment makes a lot of sense because the game plans changed in the second half. We're nowhere near as aggressive.
And this is Jacksonville.
We're not scoring.
This is Jacksonville. This ain't the most, whatever team. So I don't know, Brian, did you watch? You see it? You probably watched.
So I watched the game, but obviously it was on at the same time of a game that I was paying a little bit more attention to. But I was, checking in on it and keeping my eye on it, and it's pretty obviously coaching. And I was of the mindset like Glenn was early on in the season that it does take time to kind of bring things together. But when you start losing games this late in the season, in the second half, when you have a offensive coach who can't coach offense and make adjustments at halftime, it's starting to start acknowledging that's that. What is odd about it is you're in a division where coaching seems to be optional. I mean, the Chargers never seem to be able to get it right. The Broncos have a horrible coach right now. I think is worse than your coach. And then your coach is also just not good. Andy Reid must just love life.
Right.
Playing. He gets
Oh,
six
he's got the
games
best of everything.
against. Yeah, he gets 6 games against coaches that they may
That's,
lose a game, but they're not getting out coached. And Andy Reid gets to go into
yeah.
those 6 games knowing he's not going
And
to get out
Tom
coached.
Brady went to the Super Bowl almost every year with that same kind of situation.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I think this is the end of the Bill Belichick coaching tree, getting head coaching
Mm.
jobs. I think this is it right here after Josh McDaniels, fails. I don't think it's going to work out, Glenn. I'm just not saying from a hater perspective. I'm just saying it just from an outside person
Yeah,
looking
hey,
at. I,
man, I know they
I
nice.
thought, but I was on board thinking, oh, okay, maybe he learned something. Give him a second chance. It's been a while. Let's see what happens, and it's just not working out.
I
So
will say in my career, right, every time a new Raider coach starts, that first season it gets smoked. Every time. So I can go back, like I think Hugh
It's the next season or the next season that is it season 2 or 3 that they get better.
two-ish, 2.5, 3. I mean,
I mean, because they
based off
use
recent
what
history, right? Gruden did the same thing. Del Rio, everybody loved, but that first season we went 4-12. Like it's
what's the average tenure of the modern coach for the Raiders though? I mean, you say it's season two or
probably like
three, but they don't last more than 3 years. That's the problem.
probably 3 or 4. I mean, based off Gruden, Del Rio got 3, right? Um, but either way,
Did
also
you say your assistant coach from last year, who was actually good and everyone really liked, ended up on the Vikings?
that was a special teams
nah,
coach,
he went
wasn't
to
he?
the Packers. He's on
Packers.
Uh,
Packers
Okay.
special teams. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll need to call
Uh,
him back.
that's funny.
well, and the team, like everything changed, right? Like you had Devontae, but they changed the total offense. They changed everything. So an offense players were comfortable in being with Gruden for 4 years and actually knew where to go and how things ran, completely shelved. So it's going to take a while. Also, I'm going to say this real quick. Looking at the Jaguars ske- schedule, every one of these games was a 1-score loss. So they
Yeah.
weren't just getting blown out. They lost to the Eagles by 8. They lost to the Giants barely by 7, 6.
Right. I
So
think that they had like 5 interceptions against the Eagles, though. I think
and
Trevor
still
Lawrence
lost
threw
by 8
4.
against the
Yeah.
best team in the league. So
Yeah. I'm looking at the Raiders coaching history real quick. Gruden got 4. Del Rio before him got 3. Sperano got 1. Dennis Allen before him
yep,
got 3. Hugh
yep,
Jackson got 1. Tom Cable got 3. Lane
yep.
Kiffin got 2. So yeah, Brian, you're right. They don't really last long. Art
Well,
Shell got
yeah.
1. North Turner
You're going
2.
before, yeah. And all these guys were with Al
Yeah.
Davis too. So if Al
Yeah.
Davis was your owner, you ain't lasting long at all. Al would have fired McDaniels probably today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been bad. Okay.
I don't play
Well,
that, so
what's up with Minnesota Washington? I mean, that game Minnesota won. If you said that Minnesota's gonna win by 3 points, I think everybody would have bought that. Either team winning by 3.
But
It looks like
but we
Minnesota
that's
won.
exactly what we talked about on last week. Is that I
Yep.
I thought that if they were going to win, they're going to win by a much smaller margin. I mean, I think they were favored by. I said they were a 3.5 point
Three and a
favorite.
half. Yep.
And I think when we were talking on the show last week, I said I would take Washington and pick the Vikings to win the game on the money
Mm-hmm.
line. That's been the last couple of weeks. If you watch the game, you're going to hear me say weird things. They actually looked good. They played really well. TJ Hawkinson added a much needed dimension to take some pressure off of Jefferson, because they were double and triple teaming him, and they couldn't do that. And every time they tried to do it, Cousins found Hawkinson in the middle of the field for receptions. Even when he didn't get the catches, it offered a threat that made people back off. And I think both Thielen and Jefferson benefited from it. And I think even Dalvin Cook benefited from it. Obviously, for those of you who watched the game, it probably goes unreported. There was a field judge who ran the field alongside of a Washington wide receiver that was triple covered. They threw the ball up. It was the most obvious going to be a pick play ever. It was just a chuck up in the air. And then the field judge runs into 2 of Minnesota's defenders. The Washington guy catches it, rolls in for a touchdown. And that was the big play that offered a threat that we were going to lose. The Vikings found a way to come back. This was probably one of their stronger offensive performances. And yet it was still nerve-wracking all the way to the end, just like every other Viking game is. They only won by 1 score. But the 2 times where big plays happened, the interception in the end zone for Jefferson, that was a pretty clear PI. But either way, I like the 50-50 ball to Jefferson instead of just throwing it underneath. And then a damn field judge literally running into two players, both of which had a very easy interception to ultimately lead to a Washington touchdown. That's cool. That being said, the Vikings might end up living under a star this year. We'll probably talk about it in a minute, but this week is breaking in a direction that gives them a puncher's chance against the Bills. So I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have to take a victory lap because I said before the season started in our pre-show, Green Bay was going to lose in Detroit.
You sure did.
I'm not saying I believed it wholeheartedly this week, but I believe maybe 50, 60%. And when I saw that final, I don't think did Green Bay score a touchdown this game? I don't think so. I think it was 15-9.
No,
so
yeah.
I mean,
that's not good. Like Detroit didn't play great.
Yeah, and they obviously
Green Bay looked awful.
And
more important than that, it looked like Aaron Rodgers gave up. It looked like, he has a very calm and cavalier outside persona. Yeah. So you can't necessarily tell what he's got going on the inside, but it looked like he gave up. It looked like he kind of said, I don't have anyone I want to throw to, so I won't.
Yeah. That's pretty much his attitude. It's always in interviews, they, never me or us. You know what I mean? So that's how he is.
I think there's a reason why we've talked about this. There's a reason why when teammates leave that team, there's two things that they either do. They say nothing related to him and they just let it go.
Sure.
Or they don't like him and they're open about the fact that they don't like him.
Yeah, real talk. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other games you want to talk about, B, Glenn. I want to give props to Geno Smith, though. I mean, I see he's matured as a quarterback. He threw a pick six for a touchdown, came right back, drove 75 yards down the field. That wasn't Geno Smith of the past. He didn't do stuff like that. So,
what a huge game.
Yeah,
I mean that was a really big game in your guys' division.
Yep,
to beat Arizona. So
I think go ahead.
I mean, oh no, I was just saying. I mean, that's the difference between Arizona being tied with the 49ers, who some still believe is going to win be in the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Right.
But they're still kind of one of the favorites in the NFC to be in the Super Bowl. Arizona could have been tied with them had they beat Seattle, and Geno played a very important game to keep a big lead in a division that they might actually win.
Yeah, that's a bad contract. Kyler Murray making $45 million, the same as Mahomes. That is a terrible contract. I mean, it's good for me because they're in our division, so I don't think they're gonna be any good.
It's great for Lamar.
For his negotiating purposes,
paid.
Because my confidence in I don't know if we're talking about it. We'll talk about it an hour later, but my confidence in Baltimore. Throughout the season, I picked them to beat the Bills. They lost, but they're paying off. They're probably the most consistent team in the AFC. I'm not saying they're the best or the most talented. Right. I think that's obviously Buffalo. But Baltimore always has a puncher's chance, and they're going to eventually get one of these 5 running backs in the lineup, and
sure.
That'll be a good thing. I mean, they've led the league in rushing for the last 2 years because they've had running backs and Lamar. They haven't been able to do as much when Drake is in there. Not because Drake isn't a solid running back, but he's a stat back.
He got 2 TDs against the Saints.
Yeah, his running game is screen passes, right? So
he's getting busy. I thought also the Rams and Buccaneers both look terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the Rams look broken. they look terrible. Yeah. Look, I mean, Stafford is like sometimes when he throws the ball, it's not even the same zip code as them receivers. I don't know. The Rams don't. I don't see McVay being around there.
What kind of surgery did he have before the season, and what arm was that on? Oh, he had elbow surgery.
I said the elbow, yeah. And I don't trust McVay when he talks about injuries, acting like things is just okay. I'm like, nah,
we can see you.
Right.
They look bad. Bucks look bad. Titans, Chiefs.
I give the Chiefs props. They knew they couldn't run on Tennessee, so they just passed 68 times during the game. So they knew they couldn't run.
If the Titans had a quarterback of any kind, I think Willis could potentially be something, but they obviously didn't trust him to throw the ball. So
there's a reason for that. Yeah.
And they just need to offer a threat of throwing. They don't need to. They don't have to throw the ball. They just have to put a threat. Derrick Henry still is an
insane.
absolute monster.
Yeah.
But you just
The
gotta
plays they
you
called,
gotta not have everybody in there. They're like, well, Malik, he's not throwing it over the top of us.
the plays they had, like even the ones they called when he did throw, just weren't. That's
Well,
just not what you didn't even give him a good option. And when he was
well,
throwing it, he was getting it downfield, getting it near the receivers, but they were covered. Like it just wasn't. They weren't
well,
setting him up.
well. Remember what I said? He needs 2 years coming out of college. He
Yeah.
should not be starting in the NFL right now. He just shouldn't.
Sure.
So he completed 5. You know who last quarterback I remember when went 5 for 16 and one was Trent Dilfer playing against the Raiders when they won the Super
I
Bowl that
thought,
year.
you know who did it?
He was 5 for
Didn't
16.
didn't Mac Jones? They did something like that last year against the
No,
Bills
he
or
threw 3
somebody.
passes. He threw 3 passes
Yeah,
all game. Yeah, and they
yeah,
they won the game. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
But you're right.
yeah.
If both of you are right. If they had any resemblance of a quarterback, they would have won
They
that
could.
game.
I
They were
know
right
right
there.
now. I know right now they may lose a game like this, but I guarantee you that the Chiefs don't want to see him again in the first round of the
Yeah.
playoffs
No.
with the
Yeah.
quarterback there,
Right.
Yeah.
because Titans knew how to punch the
Yep.
Chiefs in the jaw and muddy up that game and make it tough. And you add another element there, it's enough. I'm not saying that it's
Oh,
a
easy.
guarantee, but
Yeah.
it's
Easy.
enough to have a 3-point difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Easily.
Real talk.
so.
Real
Yeah.
talk.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty good
I
week.
don't have any other comments on any other games. I don't know if you guys do.
Nah,
No,
we didn't. Go
I
ahead.
guess we should say something about the Jets Buffalo game.
Yeah. I mean, did
That
it
was a
surprise? It didn't
huge
surprise
win.
me though. Did it surprise you? Because it's a divisional game, man. I've just never really
Yeah,
surprised.
Jets
off
defense was
that.
on.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Jets defense certainly looks real. I
Right.
think that the difference between a win and a loss in that game was when Allen clearly got hurt and was
Yep.
shaking his arm for the duration of the fourth quarter,
He was
rubbing
still
his
hitting cats though.
rubbing
The
his
passes
elbow.
was still on.
Yeah, but he passed
Cats were just
half
all
as
over
much
it.
as in that quarter as he did in any other quarter. I mean, they just stopped throwing as often. He could
Yeah.
still do it, and the
Lacing
reason
him.
why I said it might work out for the Vikings is he might not be 100%. If he's
Yeah.
not 100%, we have at least a puncher's chance against him. If not, we're gonna get blown out.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Buffalo scored 3 points in the second half.
but-
So yeah, he wasn't right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you have to. The Jets are a new Jets. I mean, they have a good defense. It's
Defensive-minded coach.
unfortunate. Yeah, they have a new coach. It's unfortunate that Bryce Hall is injured, but he is legitimate. Garrett Wilson is probably number 2 or 3 on most people's rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year candidate. Right, it's him, Olave, and Damian Pierce. So there's a lot of good things going on there, and they beat the betting favorite for a Super Bowl from the AFC.
Yeah. Yeah. What y'all think about Frank Reich getting fired by the owner? The owner is just making all. The owner said,
Yeah,
"Get
the
rid of
Colts.
Carson Wentz." They got
Just
rid
that
of him.
Al
Owner
Davis,
said, "Get rid of-" He's just
That Al
shady.
Davis, baby.
And I was telling you guys, that's why I was saying, would a coach really want to coach Indianapolis knowing there's an owner like that? That's like
You
the Raiders
always
all
say
over
that.
again.
People don't get to choose from the Chiefs and the Bills.
No,
like,
no,
you're only going to get the Raiders and the Colts.
You had to put the Raiders first, but
Yeah,
but
I was also just looking at Salah's record last year when he went 4-12 or whatever
Yeah.
it was, and the year before they were.
well, he's all defense. Now they're all
getting better.
defense.
And
Yeah.
Sirianni, who didn't win many games last year, now they're doing better. So
Sirianni actually made the playoffs
So
last year.
Glenn
Though, I
found
think.
a reason to be hopeful for next season.
no,
Okay.
you have to give yourself a season. Like they weren't even, especially to your point, no preseason, no games together. These guys a lot of these guys never played together. Whole new system for a lot of teams. Just gonna change
You
things.
just needed the NFL to give you the Vikings schedule.
Oh, that's never gonna happen.
No, I mean the rate you guys are
but-
going, you guys are going to get a last place schedule.
Our division,
you might be all right.
but our division's still hard, so it doesn't matter. You never could be last place because of the division.
I don't know that
Still
your
gotta play
division's
this.
all that hard. I think
Yeah.
someone's got to win, but the Chargers, Broncos are not.
Right.
Like we thought that those teams were going to be decent this year. Neither of them are performing.
I think, but that's
the Chiefs
also
and Chiefs.
a lot to be said for the next year, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, when Sean
being a
Payton's
year in
coaching
the
the
system.
Chargers next year, yeah. So it
So-
might be something.
we're
Right.
gonna see.
But
Looking forward
anyways,
to-
but yeah, congratulations to the Jets. That was a huge win in a huge division, and they look like they're going in the right direction. I don't have huge expectations for them making the playoffs. And I mean, when's the last time you ever thought about the AFC East having 3 playoff teams
Yeah.
and the one that's not going to make it with a winning record? The one that's not going to make it is going to be the New England Patriots.
I was gonna say, yeah, they have
Like,
the
that's
most wins
crazy.
of any division. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But looking forward to just quick preview for next week as far as our teams are concerned. Let's see, what do we got here?
Well, we're coming
So
off a bye and we're a touchdown favorite against the Chargers. And I'm gonna tell you now, I don't give a
at
damn
home.
who's hurt. I don't give a damn who's hurt for the Chargers. I would never take the 49ers -7 against anybody, especially at home. They're a bad home cover team. I would take the Chargers +7 all day. I'm not going to bet it. Just going to watch it and just hope we win. And I do mean hope. I don't think these games are guaranteed. So we'll
Definitely.
see what happens. We'll see. I'll try to help you out, Glenn. Try to get you a victory over them so you can move up in the standings or whatever by a game against the Chargers. But
It's cool. We
I
at
know,
this
I don't
point,
know,
you're in between like try and win, win a few just to
man.
for the fans, but also get a good pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So
What's
then,
Minnesota spread?
yeah, Vikes. Yeah, what do you guys have on Vikings at Bills?
It's Bills -5.
Yeah, that's what I see. So what you think, B?
I
Hurt
told you
Josh
what I
Allen?
think.
Hurt you taking the Minnesota +5?
Hell no.
Okay.
Big no.
You still think it's a blowout?
I don't know. I think it's not. Allen's health determines whether or not we lose the game and look like we can be competitive. So people will say that the team is still a top 5 or 10 team in the league, or getting our hat handed to us and told to walk to the door. But it's really, we have not done well, Philly game, against teams that know how to win games. And as we've talked about numerous times, Buffalo not only knows how to win games, but make statements when they do. And so, look,
Do you know
I
who the
want to
backup
see a good
is
game.
for Buffalo?
Do I know? No, I
That's
don't know.
Case Keenum, right? I think it's Case Keenum
And Matt Barkley.
and Matt Barkley.
Yeah,
Okay.
I knew Matt Barkley. I was looking at the things. That's how I knew Matt Barkley had a job. I knew he was the third guy over there.
Is it Case Keenum?
Yes.
So he's probably giving out secrets. Oh yeah, let me tell you what this guy does.
Yeah.
So yeah,
if we're playing a backup quarterback, all indications at this point, right? We're Tuesday. They haven't said anything. If we're playing a backup quarterback,
you're in there.
that offense is not good enough to play without Josh Allen, because he is the entire offense.
right.
Yep.
They don't run the ball. They do screen passes and they run around and then hand the ball. They do a bunch of stuff, but it's all based off of the threat of Josh Allen. Could we beat a team with Case Keenum? Yeah. But I guarantee you, if Case Keenum gets announced, that line flips.
Yeah.
And it's probably Minnesota -2.
Josh Allen has a sprained ulnar collateral ligament in his elbow.
Yeah.
Yes. But they haven't decided that he's not going to play, right?
No,
he said he'll try to play, but could miss time. So that's a good thing for you guys.
Let me tell you the spread that surprises me. When would you ever see a spread where Tom Brady's only favored by 2.5 against Geno Smith?
It should be.
That's never.
I'll take Geno Smith.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's got to be because they're at home.
If I bet,
I thought this game was in London. This game is London, right?
London.
It's in London. Yep.
But for me to bet against, I would not bet against Tom Brady. I'm still not that crazy. But if I were to pick the game, I would pick Seattle. I think Seattle's a good team that's hitting on all cylinders. I think that the running backs, the wide receivers, and Geno Smith know how to go out and win football games. And I don't think anybody on the Buccaneers team knows. Well, they know how to win. I don't think they know how to put it together this season.
And you're not betting against Tom Brady. You're betting against that whole team, which is not looking that good.
Yeah, I guess I have
betting against them. I just pick.
Yeah, picking. Yeah,
Geno.
I just
Geno's team to win.
Damn, God. Okay, since Brian made a pick, I guess I got to make one too. Yeah. I had Tampa Bay last week against the Rams. That's because I think the Rams is just more of a tire fire than Tampa Bay. 2.5. I guess I would take Tampa Bay. I'm not sure if Seattle's ready for this moment. Maybe not. Tampa Bay's definitely not a good team, at least not right now. And I hope Seattle. Well, actually, I can't hope Seattle because I need them to lose. I'm a 49er fan, so that's not why I'm picking it. I'm picking Tampa Bay strictly on. I just think maybe everybody's kind of high on Seattle right now, so I'm kind of like selling high now. So everybody's on the Seattle train. Everybody knows about them now, so I'll just take Tampa Bay this game and see what happens.
I think it helps that they're playing on a neutral field in London.
It does help. That does help. Yep.
Takes away from the moment.
Yep.
Playing in Tampa versus playing in, obviously they'd rather be playing in Seattle.
Yep.
But to play that game in front of neutral fans who I'm sure will be out for Tom because he's, the GOAT.
Yeah.
But it's not the same.
No, not at all. Good win.
What's the line?
What's the line for the Raiders Colts?
Raiders -6.
Damn.
Is it really?
Yep. So I'll see right now.
Well, I mean,
Remember,
that's
remember they
because
got Sam Ellinger at
Sam
quarterback. So
Ellinger,
from
Jeff Saturday's about to play center and call plays. The guy who's calling plays
There's
never
a
called plays before. He's a former backup for the Colts.
he's a passing coordinator or something like
who?
that.
Jeff
Now,
Saturday.
The third string guy who's now calling the plays, the third
I
string
will
offensive
Okay.
assistant.
I will say this. I have been a Raider fan my entire life. I'm almost 40. I have the Raider jerseys ready. Like I'm repping. Y'all know I rock jerseys every week. I'm like a diehard. I watch every play of every game. I do know this, that when stuff like this happens and someone's not supposed to win or it's their first game, this is when we freaking mess
Yeah.
up games. I know this
Mhm.
for a fact. So I'm hoping with all of us
How,
there and then
you guys
being
are
back
favored
home,
by 6 though
it's too many.
at home. Yeah, I
I mean,
probably wouldn't. I would bet on a closer game
right.
than that.
It
But
could
I
easily
think
be like the Texas game
when a
though, where it's
2-win team
close and
is
then a blowout.
favored by 6, this you bet a little bit, Jason.
I wouldn't
How
do
often
it. Oh God,
I know
no.
you wouldn't do it, but
No.
I would stay the hell away from this game
Yeah.
with everything.
Yeah.
But how often do you see a 2-win team favored by 6
Yeah. It's that unless it's
against
like
a
a bunch of
3-win team?
right.
It's
I
not
guess
like
it's a
and
right. Unless it's like a lot of players coming back from injury, a lot of good players and starters. That's the only time you ever see something like this.
First
But
time
other than
play
that,
caller. First time coaching there.
I
well, look, Sam Ellinger and Jonathan Taylor being questionable, and quite honestly, the Raiders' injury situation is pretty good. They don't really have a lot of
Yeah,
yeah.
injury players.
nobody's been playing, so we've had a lot of
Waller is the only guy who's
yeah,
possibly injured, but
my guy's always out. Yeah, I'm in the building. I'm excited to go and see the stadium and hang out. So
are you still doing this fly in,
Raiders
fly out
winning
thing?
this. Nah, not for this trip. This trip I'm
Mm,
staying all weekend. I'm turning up. So
okay. It's all
I'll just make
good.
sure I can make it to the game. I'm just telling y'all now, my socials will probably be extremely obnoxious.
It's all good.
So check it out later at your own risk. But yeah, all right.
Man.
Obviously, I got the Raiders in that game. Any other game that you guys
I just
are?
got one last game. Brian, I don't know if you saw the spread. Dallas is playing in Green Bay, and Dallas is favored. I
Yeah,
don't
should
think
be.
that's
Of
probably
course, they're
never
favored.
happened. That's probably
Yeah,
never
you're right.
happened. Dallas favored in Green Bay.
Since Aikman
They
and
have
them
inverse
boys.
records, right? 3 and
Uh,
6 and 6 and 2.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trust Dallas on the road like that in Green Bay. I just
Against the
wouldn't.
Packers?
I would take the Packers plus the 5 all day.
Do the fans get to play
I
too?
would be on the other side. I'd be
You
on
would
the other
take
side of that.
Dallas? Oh
Absolutely.
wow.
Me
Okay.
too. Absolutely. Unless the fans
Okay.
get to come out on the field and play
Green
as
Bay,
part owners.
Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers have to show that they even want to play football.
Yeah, I taking dome teams on the road like that in Green Bay. That's just a proposition I don't want to be a part of. But we'll see next week. We'll talk about it. I know. But yeah,
For
I would
sure.
take
But
Green Bay
yeah,
plus 5.
I would take Dallas minus 5.
Yep.
All right. That's rousing. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna see show next week will be fun. Coming
Yep.
back from the game. I'll let y'all know how it is. So baseball, man, World Series. Baseball is over. Houston Astros, man, win it without wires. What y'all think about the series?
Well, I want to get Brian's take because the way Brian feels, a lot of other people feel about the Astros as well. So Brian, go ahead, take
Yeah,
this one.
I will never root for cheaters to win. I don't care who the new manager is. I know Dusty Baker is
Yeah, represent
an
Zach Town.
icon and a very good person. And when the Astros decided to hire him, I think they hired him as much for his ability to get people to root for him in spite of the team he's coaching or managing. But I can't be happy for them. I can't.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, Dusty didn't get the Philly job, and he ended up getting Houston reached out. He ended up giving
There's
him that
irony.
job. Right, exactly. And he ended up beating Philly in the World Series. So, I'm not really a fan of
Astros
any.
were a more talented team. Like they
Yeah.
were ridiculously talented.
Yeah, they are. And I
Just
don't root for
jerks.
any Astros, player. It was pretty much all just about Dusty for me. I wanted the people to stop saying he's not a good manager. He never won a big one, blah, blah. We all know baseball is a team sport. You ain't going to do it all alone, especially not as a manager. You need players. And he had a talented player, and he was able to guide the ship, and he had the players' respect and ended up getting a World Series ring. So I'm happy for Dusty, but I have no love for the Houston Astros, and not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Dusty went
Same
to high
thing.
school in Sacramento. That's why I say that. So
He was born in Riverside too. Yep.
Cali all day.
Yep.
No, I mean they got the win without the wires. You know what I mean? So I didn't watch hardly none of it. I watched leading up to it though. Actually, it was a pretty exciting playoff run. for the other games that I watched. San Diego was great. Philly was great. Like it was fun to
Playoffs were
see.
in. Yeah, the players had a lot. The playoffs had a lot of good storylines,
Yep.
and it was
Definitely.
interesting
All
to
the big teams went
keep
down.
tabs on.
Yeah.
I did not watch individual games. I watched highlights,
Mm.
kept tabs on scores, but I kind of wanted Philly to win, but knew that Houston would,
Yeah.
and so I
Sure.
just didn't want to watch.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah.
Sure. But
Understood.
yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to the Astros, man. They're still the champions.
So while we're
So
on the topic, though, I wanted us to talk about whether or not Clemens, Bonds, Barry Bonds, and I'm forgetting one.
McGuire,
And
Sosa.
no. It's not
Oh.
Sosa. There are three of them that made the. So when you fail to qualify for the Hall of Fame,
Mm.
you go to a generational committee, and they can bring you in to the Hall of Fame. And so Bonds and is up for nomination there. Clemens is, and again, I'm forgetting one more.
yeah, I don't have my phone because you
Now Pete
texted to us.
Rosa. Yeah, I knew you texted to us. Yeah.
I don't have my
Yeah,
phone.
but do you think that they should? I mean, you have to get 75. What is it? 75% of the vote.
You
And
said Schilling. You said Kurt
yep,
Schilling.
Kurt Schilling. That's right.
What's wrong with him?
Um,
People just don't like him. He's an asshole or
I
something.
mean, he's a huge of that, and
Right.
I genuinely hope he does not
Right.
ever end up in anything uh, other than a dumpster. But
Yeah.
but Bonds, I think it's an interesting question. He got 66% of the vote last year. Needed 75% of the vote. He's into this committee. I feel like they're gonna. It's not media people, so he doesn't have the history of being a jerk to the media like Bonds was. So I was just wondering what you thought. Do you think Bonds will get in with his second attempt?
I
This
mean,
time around.
I think Bonds should be in. Will he get in? I don't think so. I just think
Yep.
maybe it's still a little bit too early. I know it's
No,
been
no,
a
no. It's
while.
over. He's
He
already
passed the 15
exhausted.
years.
Yeah, he's already exhausted his Hall of Fame opportunity.
Oh, okay.
There's a
Oh wow.
second committee that's not
Yeah.
the media. That's not media. It's
Yeah.
all
I didn't know it's
athletes
been
and whatnot.
15
It's called the
years.
contemporary. Yeah,
Crazy.
it's
Yeah.
called the contemporary
Right.
era Hall of
Right.
Fame. So because he spans two eras,
Yeah.
he was able to go in kind of the back door, the side door, the side entrance.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think eventually, Brian, he gets in. I just don't think maybe this time around he does.
no, this is it.
Oh, this is it. Like if he doesn't get in now, he can never get in again.
Yeah, he's already exhausted his opportunities to go to the
Wow.
Hall of Fame by
Oh, I
standard
thought they
ballot.
can re-up every single year and
Yeah,
think they can
like
get it and think,
so this
oh,
committee
So he
gets one
needs to
shot at
get
it.
12. It's a 16-person committee. It's much smaller,
yeah.
and you need to get 12 votes to be elected. But it's consistent. It consists of other Hall of Fame players,
Yeah.
baseball executives, a few veteran sports writers, a small group, and I think he's going to get in this year.
Well, since you put it that way, I think he gets in. I think you have to have it. I think, first of all, the Baseball Hall of Fame, well, most Hall of Fames are a joke, but they don't even have the all-time hit leader, Pete Rose, in there, which is, I still don't get that one. He bet after he played, but I think Barry Bonds has to get in. You can't tell the history of baseball without having Barry Bonds in there. So if this is his last shot, Brian, as you say, and there's no more after this, he has to get in. He's done his 10, 15 years or whatever. So I would say you got to put him in. I'm sorry, because he was a Hall of Fame
Yikes.
player before his head got swole. So,
Yikes.
yeah, I think it gets in. What you think, Brian?
He should probably, man, he probably should be in there.
Yeah.
All them dudes, honestly.
I don't think it's a question of whether or not he did enough to get in there. I think it's just a matter of whether or not people hold the allegations or hold
Right.
him against him enough. And he was considered a jerk. There are a
Yeah.
lot of people who were willing to use the PED reason
Yeah.
to say no because he was a jerk, and they always look for it. Like,
Yeah. He always said that he was like that, though, because of the way the media treated his dad. He never liked the way they treated his dad. So he just
I get
figured
it.
he was
You
going to
just
treat him.
can't get
But
caught. Like,
yeah,
he
but I
could have been a
understood.
jerk and gotten
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. They wouldn't have been able to do that. But when they
Right.
gave him the PED stuff,
Yeah. And he never failed a test,
gave him the
but we all
excuse.
know what he was doing, even though he never failed a test. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying, Brian. I think he gets in.
I hope he does.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope he gets in.
Wow.
But we'll see. We'll
Word.
see.
What's next?
College football. Coop kind of was pressing for this, man. Just some shakeups. Alabama lost.
Yeah, Alabama
Good game
lost.
too. That was a
Yeah.
good game.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I think me and Brian were on the same side of this. We was like, "Yo, Saban's about to have some competition with Brian Kelly at LSU." Now, I didn't think it was going to happen so early. Thought maybe it was going to take a couple years, but Brian Kelly left Notre Dame because he knew he was never going to have a chance to win a national title or even beat Alabama if he stayed at Notre Dame. It's not going to happen. He's not going to get the athletes. Went to LSU.
true.
LSU can get the athletes. They can get the team. And
Yeah.
I'm not
Notre
saying
Dame's
LSU.
problem was just the standards they had, the academic standards they had to meet. Notre Dame
Right.
doesn't waive them.
Right.
LSU doesn't have
Right.
them. So
LSU and Alabama don't have academic standards. Exactly. You can just, hey, can you play? All right. All right. Then you're in. You can read a defense. So they beat Alabama. And, I think all of us have Alabama fatigue. I mean, we respect that they're a good program, whatever, and they recruit very well and they win games. And I like Bryce Young personally as a quarterback. I think he's fantastic. But we might get someone new in the Final Four this year that doesn't include Alabama. So that's always exciting. But I know, Brian, I brought up this topic mainly for USC. Yeah, Pac-12 is not a great division, but they're kicking ass. You're going to play who's in front of you, and they've been doing that. If they play UCLA, which is a pretty good team, UCLA is not a
very
bad
good team.
team. Yes. I would think
Wow.
UCLA probably be favored that game, but if USC gets in, what percentage shot beats them? What percentage shot do you give them if they run the table? Because they already beat you. Well, they lost to Utah by 1. But let's just say they play again, they beat Utah. What percentage chance you get of making that Final Four
Yeah. So USC is actually the favorite. They're about a 3-point favorite right now.
against UCLA?
Yeah, on the road at UCLA, it's not that
Okay.
big of a difference between
Yep.
playing at the Coliseum and playing at the Rose Bowl, but
All right.
they are a 3-point favorite, which makes sense because they are the higher ranked team. And the way college betting usually works is there's just not a whole lot of analysis, which is why during bowl season you can clean up
Yeah.
making bets because there's teams that have just all they do is look at records and
Yeah.
because one's playing in one division, another's playing in another conference, another's playing in another conference, there's a big disparity there. That said, look, Oregon, the way that they've done the whole rankings thing is just insane to me. Tennessee loses a game, gets smacked, looks awful, only goes down to 5th. Alabama only drops to 9th. It, you put this situation out there so that the Oregons, the USCs, and UCLAs, all which have one loss, USC and UCLA have to have a second loss. Do you think a 2-loss USC or UCLA is only going to be and it's going to still be in the top 9? No, they're
No.
going to drop to like 20 something when one of them loses the other one, and then not because the one team's better or worse or anything like that. The other problem you have in the rankings is Ohio State and Michigan are both undefeated and playing quite well, and they're 2-3. One of them is going to lose, and that's going to drop them down. And TCU really doesn't play anyone. I think they only have one more game against a ranked team, and that's Texas this week. So I think it's almost impossible um, for a Pac-12 team to get in. That's a damn shame because I think Oregon at least should have a shot. They are a very good team, and I probably think they're better than USC this year. But the way that they've done it, it's set up so that the Tennessees can scrape back in, TCU's probably going to stay in, and I think Ohio State and Michigan, when they get one loss, will still be ahead of a one-loss Oregon.
Yeah, I think it's stuff like that too. Because I don't think a Pac-12 team is going to get in either, regardless, because I think they're always going to use USC's or
Oregon has
Oregon's
to
or
play
their
two more
resume.
ranked teams.
Right, they're going to use their resume, their schedule against them, and that's why they
But that's
won't
what I'm
get
saying.
in.
They play two more
Yeah.
ranked teams, whereas the
Yeah,
Ohio State Buckeyes only play one. That's
yeah,
Michigan in the last game of the season. But they
yeah,
play Indiana and Maryland, who were both awful.
yeah.
Um, and yet, an Oregon team that's going to play a ranked Washington team and a ranked Utah team that actually is pretty damn good and beat USC. Um, I just don't feel like they're gonna get a real shake at it.
Yeah, yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted
Exactly
to get your
why
take
I
on that.
wanted I'm looking forward to the expansion of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's like 2024 is supposed to happen. Yeah, so
24, I think.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing USC playing in the Big Ten, to be honest with you, because it's going to be a lot of big games that they're going to play against that kind. And I think USC, I think with the Lincoln Riley's recruiting class, I think they can roll in the Big Ten, but we'll see.
It'll be
We
interesting,
will
and we
see.
should probably talk about this in a show. But it looks like there's a lot of pressure for UCLA to rescind that they're going to move, and if UCLA doesn't go, I wonder if USC does.
Interesting. Yep. I guess we'll see. All right. B, you got, I mean, not B, Glenn, you got any college football thoughts?
Man, I don't really watch college like that. I'll be honest. I did
Yeah.
watch Alabama's game this week. That was crazy. Alabama
Yeah.
LSU, super good
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So I
I'm
just kind of
personally,
watched the big ones I
I'm,
see.
I'm personally happy Clemson lost because they're just not that good. They were undefeated, but the ACC, I mean, let's just be honest, not that great of a conference.
Sure.
Clemson was just scraping by. Their quarterback isn't any good, and they finally lost. So thankfully, everybody can stop talking about them because they got no shot to make the Final Four, and they shouldn't be in the Final Four. So
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yep.
Cool. Hey man, that's our show. We appreciate everybody who listens. Check us out on your favorite podcast platform. We're find us here on YouTube at the Sports Counterpoints page. This our last segment is our minute to win it. Just a chance to talk uninterrupted, usually uninterrupted, about whatever you want. For me, I'm just gonna say thank you all for listening. Thanks for checking us out. We appreciate you. And happy birthday, Coop.
Good looking. Yeah, I just want to say it's always a pleasure doing this show with both of you guys, man. B always being my counterpart. We've been going at it for years, but I love it. We could
Man,
have it recorded now. Glenn always being the moderator. I appreciate you. So thank you both.
love.
Thank you both for the birthday wishes. There's a lot of people in my life that didn't make it this far in my age. Not
Yeah,
saying I'm in my 60s, but a lot of people that didn't make it. So I'm blessed to be alive right now.
55.
Yeah.
Hey, happy birthday, man.
Good looking. B.
Yeah, I got a couple of topics. One thing I wanted to say is that I think it's a bunch of hogwash, and that's not that Jeff Saturday got brought in the way he did. And look, the Rooney rules were put in place, and they just expanded them to try and do it. And for Indianapolis to go and circumvent those rules to do what was obviously a full hire of Jeff Saturday is just wrong. And I think that the NFL should do what it needs to do to look into that, because the whole idea, the reason they created the interim coach loophole or whatever you want to call it, was because when you fire a coach, usually have to hire someone who's already in the room, who can just step into the role, who already knows things for continuity purposes, and you can't go and do weeks and weeks of interviewing, and assistant coaches on other teams aren't going to have an opportunity to do it. So you kind of leave that alone. But what they did is that the owner decided that he wanted Jeff Saturday as his coach and his buddy, and probably knew even before the season that
Yep.
if anything happened with Reich, which was he was obviously on the hot seat, Saturday was his guy. And they did this in the middle of the season. They call him an interim coach, but gave him a grand opening as if he was, McDaniels or any of these other coaches. They gave him the same type of podium parade. And it seems pretty obvious that what they did was he didn't want to have to go through the dog and pony show of pretending like he had any interest in anyone other than Saturday, and found a way to cut through that tape. That tells me they've got a problem, because they had a one-track mind, and that's the whole way. And there's something to be looked at there. So other than that, I wanted to point that out to the sports fans that doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like
Mhm.
all these new changes that they just made to try and improve the Rooney Rule, because there was too many shenanigans going on, really hit home, because in one of the first instances that it needed to be applied, it wasn't.
Yep.
And the other thing I would just say is I hope everyone voted today, regardless of what your points of view are, and whether or not you and I would be on the same page. I just hope people voted. There were a couple other matters that were on the ballot that were
For
sports
California.
related.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, gambling in California was on there twice. Once by phone, and once on
Indian
Native
reservation.
American,
Yeah.
Native
Yeah.
American reservations.
Right.
I did vote for both of those. But anyways, those are kind of sports related, because they both had impacts on sports betting,
Yep.
and the ability to do sports betting in different ways. Although the 26 is more about, do you want to see real craps and roulette when you go to an Indian casino?
Hell yes.
Right.
Absolutely yes.
Right.
100% yes.
Right.
I want to roll dice. I don't want to push a button.
Right.
I don't want to
Agree.
flip any cards. I don't want any of
Exactly.
that garbage.
Exactly.
Let me throw some bones.
Right.
Yeah. Word,
It's all
word.
good.
Hey, great show. Always a pleasure, man, doing the show like Coop said with you guys. Thanks for listening to us. Check us out next week when I'll have that good Raider report after being at the game for you. Appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.